Welcome to the Arts Page. I'm Sandy Maxx. And when an artist talks about their creative process, they often refer to things that inspire them to make their art. For one group of artists, animal imagery stretches the imagination in both traditional and non-traditional ways. A new exhibit in Milwaukee shows viewers that fine art and tattoo art can overlap in diverse yet interconnected ways.
So many of the artists that I know today that are tattooers were trained as artists, or at least had trained for some time in art school. You know, a lot of them would say, artists, art, schmart, art, fart, they don't care. But I think most of them really think of themselves as artists. My name is Fred Stonehouse. I am the curator of the current show at Tory Folliard Gallery. My interests are very image-oriented. I mean, I am drawn to and moved by and interested in images, as are many of my contemporaries. So this group of people that I've exhibited with over the years, Tory was also interested in potentially having a show of their work in the gallery. So the title is The Beast Within, Images of Animals in Tattoo and Contemporary Art. We hit upon the idea of animals because of the common elements in the tattoo vocabulary, in the tattoo image bank, are animals. You know, if you think about tattoos, you think about certain things. You think skull and crossbones, battleship, pierced heart, maybe pinup, and then, of course, animals, the clawing panther, the sort of roaring tiger, the wolf, eagle. You know, these are images that are very, very, very sort of key stock images in tattoo culture. So that wasn't automatic. We knew that like inviting tattooers to do images of animals was like a no-brainer. And then I thought about all of these image-based artists, not tattooers, but other artists that I knew. You know, so many of them used images of animals in their work that it just seemed like a natural fit to combine those two things. And I specifically tried to focus on artists that used animal images in a very sort of emblematic way, you know, sort of mostly sort of centered, where that's the key image. Well, it includes the work of trained, mostly, I guess, all trained artists and tattooers who also make art, or some tattooers who the only art they make is work that's related to their tattoo work, so tattoo flash. Tattoo flash is the work that tattoo artists, it's their designs, their hand-painted designs that would adorn the walls of a tattoo parlor, and flash comes out of the carnival culture. Flash was anything that would trick out your attraction. So flash doesn't just necessarily relate to the idea of tattooing. It's come to be used in tattooing to describe the actual artworks. So I don't think that there is even a single piece in the show, even the pieces done by tattooers, that's done in absolutely a traditional flash style. These guys have amped them up in scale, and they're a little flashier, and they really sort of put in the extra effort to make really beautiful paintings, I think. There's a number of pieces in here that present sort of as traditional flash, but, you know, with like on crack. I mean, they're sort of amped up a little bit. So the guys really stepped it up, I think. I think a lot of people will recognize that Hardy, obviously. He's sort of on the title wall. It was really nice that agreed to be in the show. He's a super busy dude, and he's an old friend of mine, and was very generous in sending a pretty major piece for him to be in the show. He was interested in tattooing as a kid. He went to art school, trained in printmaking, etching in particular, and then got a degree from the San Francisco Art Institute, and then got out of school and could not get a job, and had always been interested in tattooing. And then in a very funny, I mean, he just came out with his memoir, so it tells the whole story of how he learned to tattoo in this sort of ass-backwards way. But he went out and became a tattooer, and was one of a group of people who really did sort of change the way people thought about tattooing in America.
My name's Jon Reiter. I'm a tattooer, above all, tattooer. I decided to do a piece kind of based more on old etchings. Well, they're all based on Wisconsin animals. The entire piece is Wisconsin themed. Thus the date at the top of the image, 1848, is the year Wisconsin was established as a state. So yeah, they're all Wisconsin animals adapted into old tattoo imagery. The central image is loosely based on an old Japanese print, and all the rest are based on old tattoos, turn-of-the-century imagery.
My name is Mike Noland, and I'm an artist. I'm a painter primarily. I have 3 paintings in the show, this one of the raccoon, one of a beaver, and one of a groundhog. 3 pieces are all based on John James Audubon prints. And I find his work inspirational, just that he was out there working, doing nature so early on before photography. My work is not about realism, it's about my own personal vision.
Hi, I'm Ben Grant. I'm a painter from Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm also a former student of Fred Stonehouse. So the pieces I have here are actually sort of peripheral to my main body of work. So when I initially started painting, I started using this sort of doodle form that came out of my childhood, and that actually began being integrated into my main body of painting. I have 2 wild turkeys and 1 what I think is a groundhog. I'm not wholly sure on that, so there's a question mark in the title. Fred actually gave me a couple of his prints that he had stored away in his image files, and I actually just sort of put the doodle form on top of these prints. So this doodle form can sort of go onto anything.
The great thing about this show is that Fred has put together a great body of artists that approach nature so differently. I mean, the theme of the show is basically about animals, but there's such a wide range of animal imagery in this show that it's quite amazing.
I would hope that people will find in these sort of simple, bold, iconographic images some real sort of meaningful messages for them to take away, and that's personal, obviously, for the viewer. But I hope that these pieces can be as profound for the viewers as a piece of abstract art would be.
And that's the one great thing that tattooing does, is it speaks its language strongly. You don't need explanation for why you know, a snarling wolf on your chest is strong. I mean, you know, you see like some young dude with a big snarling wolf on his chest, and I don't know if that's saying anything good, but it's saying something loudly. So I think that this work is not timid. There's a kind of universal quality to tattooing and this kind of graphic imagery that's hard to deny. I mean, you see it, it affects you one way or the other. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why you might hate it, but you won't be, it's not easy to dismiss.
The exhibit at the Tory Folliard Gallery in Milwaukee runs until the end of August. For more information about The Beast Within, visit the gallery's website at toryfolliard.com.